Well, greetings and salutations, and welcome once again to the mighty Newsman Weekly Podcast, episode number 69. Yes, gentlemen, 69.
I wasn't going to make any jokes.
Come on, I got like sophomore humor. Somebody's going to say something. Never mind.
How did we evolve from that to what we have talked about it on here? The kids say 6, 7. We don't know much about that.
I don't even know what that is.
No.
Anyway, folks, this could be a very taxing edition of this fine show. More on that in just a moment. I am joined again today by Zach Heiser, the executive producer of the Newsman Weekly, and also Hayden Gray, the show's official videographer, for at least one more hour.
Good luck with the rest of the show.
In a little bit, we'll be joined by two different guests today. First, we're going to have Brittany Schock, the Richland Source audience engagement editor. She's going to join us to talk about the myriad of upcoming events the Source is involved in, and there are a ton of them. And then we're going to have Richland County Commissioner Tony Vero in studio with us to talk about a very taxing decision the county is wrestling with this month, a property taxing decision. So stay tuned for those discussions. But in the meantime, good morning, gentlemen. How the hell are you? What'd you do for fun on what was a glorious autumn weekend?
Good morning, Carl. Well, Saturday, I started off the day with an Orange Eyes from Phoenix at about 10 a.m.
Oh, so you were pretty much worthless the rest of the day.
Pretty much, yeah.
Was that? Did they have the dog thing going on?
They
was
did.
That this weekend? Zach?
Dogs, donuts, beer. It was for the Humane Society, and we brought our dog down and did the 0.2 mile walk around the block. It was great.
See, I would bring my dog to that, but she can't go 0.2 miles without wanting to bite something. So
I bet she could.
Yeah, she could, but she needs to stay home with me. What about you, Hayden?
Yeah, I had a good time. I was actually here at work, but had the son's second birthday party on Saturday. So
yeah.
You just can't stay away. You just
I know,
have to do it at work.
But it is a great place to have a birthday party.
So did you have like clowns and balloons and pink elephants and blue things and toys, and what did you do?
Just a lot of cars. He's into cars. Anything with wheels is what's popular right now. So
right.
No clowns, just cars.
No clowns, just cars.
Did you have a lot of people here, a lot of family?
A little mixture of family and friends, just like 20 people, though.
20 people?
25 people. It was casual.
3 or 4 people that saw there was something going on, and so they just wandered off the street trying to get a free cupcake.
Well, I could publicly let people know that I did shoot a message to the host of this show and said if he wanted, a free bite of pizza or anything, he could swing by, and I didn't hear a word.
Okay,
Crickets.
Couple things. First of all, you never mentioned pizza. You mentioned cupcakes. The word pizza was never. Okay, now I'm going to call.
I'm going to have to superimpose my own text.
Well, yeah, no, I'm good. But here's the other thing. I was actually at a friend's 55th birthday party.
Ooh.
Okay, here we go.
They've had 55.
You know what? I sit corrected. Hayden was right. Free bite of pizza. I thought.
I'm saving this episode.
Well, now I'm upset because I didn't get invited to.
It was very impromptu. See, I'm sorry. I did not.
Very
impromptu.
I was downtown too. I could have popped in.
You could have. I mean, you'd had like 18 pops at that point. I'm sure. I'm sure Hayden's son would have enjoyed seeing you stagger in.
Rode the carousel.
Ooh.
Went out to Malabar. Did a little hike.
Did you go up to Mount G's?
No, we just went back to the caves.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And Hayden, did you take your son for a ride on the carousel? It's one of the few places in town you can actually walk to from here.
I didn't Saturday. The last time that we did, and I don't know if I can handle it anymore.
What,
I
the
get
carousel?
I get super dizzy on it. I don't know.
Oh my God.
I don't know, man. I don't know how fast that thing's going.
Oh, God. All right. I think now yesterday we had a bet, or at least a couple of you had a bet going into yesterday's Browns-Steelers game. Yeah. Mr. Heiser said that if the Steelers won, he would wear a Steelers jersey, and Hayden said the same thing. Well, as it turned out, we know how it turned out. The Steelers, who have beaten the Browns in Pittsburgh since Jesus left the old country in a canoe.
Pretty much.
We do have a ceremony, so Hayden, take it away. Right. Zach, are you ready to wear your jersey?
I'll put it on. I picked Troy Polamalu.
He did.
He does have nice hair. He does. I will put this on. I am a man of my word.
Ladies and gentlemen, the donning of the hated Pittsburgh Steelers jersey by lifelong Browns fans, Zach Heiser.
I will wear this for the rest of the show.
Man, he's wearing a Steelers jersey.
He looks good.
Hayden.
Oh, and a
I
handshake.
appreciate it. I appreciate
And a
it.
handshake.
I know this isn't what the people want. Like, well, hold on. I'm going to put my Cavs hat on too.
Okay.
That's fair enough because I am a Cavs
Right.
fan.
I'll be
too,
like Hayden.
so.
I like a Pittsburgh team and a Cleveland team.
Okay.
There's Larry
Well, oh my
tossing up.
goodness.
You played his team this weekend.
Yeah,
Carl.
well,
We'll get to that.
No, I play that
So.
next week. I play him next weekend. It wasn't Larry. I played them. We're talking about fantasy
No,
football.
the Bengals.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Sorry, we got to appreciate this
This is
moment.
Jimmy Haslam's fault
Yeah.
that I'm wearing this.
I
Because
will say I watched the first half of that game simply because I needed something to do other than work, and I knew all that work was coming. But after watching the Browns for a half,
you got a little sick.
I mean, the only good player you had on offense, you traded to the Bengals.
Yeah. Well,
Now, who's that quarterback, the rookie?
I don't know.
Quinshawn Judkins is, or no, he's
No,
not the
the
quarterback.
quarterback.
I'm just
Dylan
saying he's
Gabriel.
okay.
Dylan
on
Gabriel.
offense. But yeah, Dylan
He's
Gabriel.
he's awful.
Mm-hmm.
He's slow.
Mm-hmm.
He can't throw the ball very well, and he looks tentative. Those are bad things in a quarterback.
Yeah, well, we had a quarterback. His name was Baker Mayfield.
Uh-huh.
They took him 1 overall, and then they decided to, after an injured one bad season, they decided to just give up on him and bring in a serial abuser in Deshaun Watson, who we're still paying $30+ million. And so this is your fault, Jimmy. This is your fault. You are terrible. I hate you.
But he runs a good truck stop.
Yeah, that's fine. He should only be focused on that.
Now, I know that Hayden is fired up. Going into this season, he was an Aaron Rodgers hater. Once that signing was announced, he immediately went into I hate Aaron Rodgers mode. And now I fully expect by next week to see Hayden sitting here wearing an AR Steelers jersey.
I mean, listen, if we go back a few podcasts, we've proven with Zach that we can go back and look what people said. I've made it clear. I was a skeptic. I wasn't a believer, and I said that I was always going to own up to that. So, I mean, each week he begins to earn a little. I mean, it pains me to say it because I was really sad to not re-sign Justin Fields. As an Ohio State fan, that was the perfect world. I finally had him.
Justin's doing gangbusters with the Jets.
That decision's a lot easier to deal with right now. So, yeah, I'll say that
You think,
Aaron's play and the way Justin Fields has played for the Jets makes me a believer a little bit more.
You think Mike Tomlin might have a little better insight into quarterbacks than we do?
I mean, I still don't like
Just a
that
little bit.
Aaron Rodgers is a one-year rental, but we'll deal
Well,
with
no,
that.
Aaron made it clear a couple of games ago. He might like to come back for another year.
Now, Hayden,
see.
why don't you tell me how, with all your infinite knowledge,
Okay.
just how will
Okay.
the Browns fix? how should they fix their problems?
I won't give everyone the full 15-minute rundown I gave you this morning. I said I wanted to see Kevin Stefanski fired this morning, but Zach gave me all these reasons that shouldn't be what happens and blah, blah, blah,
Well, it's
blah,
like,
blah.
okay, I'm in an abusive relationship with my spouse.
Yes.
And someone's
for
like,
real,
hey,
it's just theory.
you guys should just get a new dog.
Right.
That's
Like, that's basically
that's a
saying,
diff service to the. what
Let's
I'm
fire
trying
the
to say.
coach and bring in another one. You know how many coaches I've seen since '99? How many quarterbacks? How many everything?
Right,
No,
so
it
what's
starts
one
at
more?
the top.
What's the attachment to Kevin? If I'm
But
trying,
you can't fire the owner.
Yeah, I know. That's the problem.
right?
So you have to fire your fandom.
Well, hey,
Yeah,
I told
yeah.
Zach
You just gotta. I don't know. You gotta ride it out.
to make it short and sweet. The Browns can go get Bill Belichick because he is unwanted in UNC, whether they say it or not. North Carolina.
He wants out.
And I would feel bad because Nick Saban's kind of tolerable in his commentary era.
Nick
But-
Saban.
But go get
Bombed when he
Saban and Belichick.
Saban
bring it back.
bombed when he coached in the NFL.
I know, but bring it back to where they started, and maybe that's
Yeah.
the magic
Yeah, I'm
solution.
sure Nick Saban, who makes millions of dollars
Guys,
sitting in a
it's
suit
just-
and tie,
it's
wants
just
to come
jokes.
coach the
It's
Browns.
just jokes.
Yeah. The important thing is 2 weeks from now in Pittsburgh. What is the name of the stadium now? It used to be Three Rivers.
Acrisure Stadium.
What's
Oh.
it called?
Acrisure. It used to be Heinz Field.
It's
Oh.
Heinz Field.
Okay.
But now it's Acrisure
Well, didn't
Stadium.
they used to play in Three Rivers, right?
I mean,
where the Pirates
right,
played?
yeah.
Yeah. Because they had one
I don't know about the
stadium, that's
Pirates, even though
everybody
Zach
played.
thinks I like them.
Yeah, because I remember the cool thing about when it came to the Pirates, Three Rivers Stadium was aptly named because there was a river for every fan in the stands. I mean, wait,
I
Probably
went to
still
that
accurate.
stadium. I went to that stadium in the late '90s. Watched the Indians and the Pirates
I went to a World Series Game 3 in 1979 between the
At
Pirates,
Three Rivers.
between
Wow.
the Pirates and the Orioles.
Wow.
That was the We Are
That's
Family season of Willie Stargell, Dave Parker, Manny Sanguillen, very good Pirates team. They lost Game 3. I think it was in extra innings. It was a rain delay. But anyway.
That's cool.
I was old and
good experience.
I'm old now, but I wasn't. I was 18 then, and I got a press pass to go to the World Series.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, so we had a good time. But no, 2 weeks from now, the Packers, my beloved Packers, who stormed past a Bengals team yesterday.
They didn't cover, but
again, Matt LaFleur is not responsible for the point spread in these games.
Great teams cover.
No. Great, then most teams don't, because everyone seems like every game's going down to the wire these days, unless you're playing the Browns. And actually, that did go down to the wire, and we lost. So, but 2 weeks from now, it's the Packers and the Steelers at that stadium that I'm not going to try to pronounce.
Heinz Field.
Heinz Field.
Yes,
yeah.
it is. Well, yeah.
Or Three Rivers.
Yeah,
whatever.
one of those two. Yeah. Some mistake by the river, or Three Rivers, and we will have a similar bet, Hayden and I. I will bring
Are you bold enough?
I will bring in my Brett Favre jersey, and you can bring in whatever jersey you want to bring in.
Okay.
And I will don, or you will don, the jersey of the opposition. And I'll do it straight up because the Steelers are going to be favored, right. I'm sure, because they're the mighty Pittsburgh Steelers. And if Aaron Rodgers beats one team this year, he's going to want to beat the Green Bay Packers. Yes. My only hope is that Micah Parsons puts him about 6 inches into the dirt
just
early
like
on.
Myles Garrett was going to.
And Myles was nowhere to be seen yesterday. He's more focused on his Halloween decorations
I won't send this bet down. But, Carl, I'm happy to hear you're making that bet. I didn't know that you'd want to do that.
I will gladly make that bet. You know what, folks? We couldn't do one episode of the Newsman Weekly, much less 69 of them, without all of you. So thanks again to everybody for joining us for your weekly recharge of news, information, and faux entertainment. We're grateful and yet somewhat mystified. So many of you come to us every week. We know we couldn't do this show without your support, so please, if you haven't done it already, please subscribe to the show and give it a great rating. Once you've done that, unsubscribe, resubscribe, and give it another good rating or another great rating. Many thanks to local country singer Luke Watson, who created this show's theme song, Smoke and Drink. Our thanks also to the great folks at Relax It's Just Coffee for sponsoring this show and for being such a great partner to the Newsman Weekly. Every day just starts better with great coffee, and our friend Paul Kimmerling and his baristas at Relax simply have the best in town at 105 North Main Street in downtown Mansfield. All right, before we dive into the world of Richland Source events and Richland County property taxes, we do have some news for you. After all, news is still in the title of this show, as much as Heiser would like the title to be changed to something about puppies and cats and balloons and
that'd be fun.
Other softer
things.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I got one really big piece of news. Normally, I talk about 3 or 4 things from the past week in this segment, but today's different. Today, I want to focus on just one. I want to do a deep dive into the potential development of the municipal parking lot in downtown Mansfield, which would see the western half of that lot sold to Park National Bank, which would build a new banking office right there. Now, let me preface this discussion by saying I don't have a dog in this fight. I got no opinion on what the mayor and city council should do with the proposal. That's not my job as a journalist. I think sometimes people get confused what a journalist's role is, but my job in this is simply to talk about pros and cons and things like that, not my opinion. But there was so much vitriol, heated discussion, and inaccurate information put out on this topic in the last week or so that I wanted to just try to calmly explain how we got to this point, try to answer any questions you guys might have, and then we'll go from there.
Now buckle up, because there's a lot of explaining. There's a lot of nuance, like you said here. So maybe take notes.
Yeah, just
if you want to get your facts straight.
If you want to get facts straight, that's what we're going to try to do. But Heiser, you're right. This is a debate that has nuances, which is something I think is lost too often these days. So let's get into it. Let's look at how we got to where we are today, and then examine some of the pros and cons of this proposal. Now, start with the knowledge that developing the parking lot, the municipal parking lot, is not a new idea. We have to go back a few years when the Mansfield Rising Plan was developed in 2018, made public in 2019. That is a plan developed by local residents for downtown development and investment. And if you take a look, a lot of the successes we've seen downtown, especially investment-wise, have come as a result of that plan. The very first action item in the Mansfield Rising Plan called for development of the 1.4-acre municipal parking lot at the corner of 4th and Main Streets. It is the prime real estate in the downtown.
Now, I thought you were going to start farther back than 2018, further back.
It didn't used to be a parking lot.
When did it become a parking lot?
I'd have to, I don't know when they took those buildings down, probably without off the top of my head, and I hate to do this because I don't have the facts in front of me, probably about the time they were building the carousel because you needed some place to park probably.
And there used to be just
buildings,
warehouses or
whatever buildings were there. I don't remember
retail.
specifically, but it was not a parking lot throughout people didn't, when they rode to town in their horse and buggy back in the day, they didn't park the horse and buggies in that lot.
Right.
All right, the Mansfield Rising Plan called for a development as a way to better link Central Park to the Carousel District. But according to the action plan, and now I'm quoting, the best project would include retail, residential, tiered parking, and green space. This site could be more than a parking lot. It could be a vibrant space for the community. A transformative new development would send a clear message that the local economy is growing and responsive to the community. That's what it said in the Mansfield Rising Plan. Fast forward to 2022. They worked in conjunction with Bowling Green State University, got a grant, did a study, did a survey to look at potential development uses for the parking lot. According to the survey of local residents, quote, keeping the site as parking was the most selected response, followed by family entertainment and a mixed-use development. These responses supported the feedback from the focus groups regarding the importance of the lot as a primary parking node and the need to retain free parking availability in some fashion if the lot is developed. That's what was found in the study and survey that was done 3 years ago with partners at Bowling Green State University. All right, so as we now know, developing the municipal parking lot is not a new idea. The question remains, how should it be developed? And let's go back on October 3rd. I got the city council agenda email in an email, and I looked at it, and I saw, I see parcels being transferred to the new Mansfield Community Improvement Corporation. And we're going to talk in a week from now more about the Community Improvement Corporation and what it does. But one of the things I saw was the transfer of parking lot parcels to the CIC. And I said, I wonder what that's about. So I got in touch with the mayor, and her basic initial response is, well, that's not supposed to be out yet. I think that's going to be for next council. I said, well, if you're going to pull it, if you're going to pull the legislation, which happens, that's fine. I won't write about it. And at least at this point. And she said, no, it's out there now. So fast forward over the weekend, some more conversations. I talked to her on Monday morning. Park National Bank put out a press release early Monday afternoon, and that kind of set everything up. I think what Mayor Perry told downtown merchants at a meeting I attended on Thursday is the law director's office sent this one out prematurely. This is not the legislation. She wanted to have the parking lot, additional parking, resolved. So when this came out, you could say, okay, we're going to lose 90 parking spaces because we're going to sell half the lot, but we're going to pick up X number of parking spaces over here. Gotcha. And I think she's been working on that. But it's not done yet, or at least it wasn't done as of last Thursday, and it certainly wasn't done by the time this legislation came to light. Okay, so let's talk about the proposal that is being considered, because what happened is council met on Tuesday, and they basically said, we'll give this a second read on October 21st. We're not voting on it tonight. Mm-hmm. Under the proposal, Park National Bank would pay the CIC $175,000 for the parking lot space. They would build a bank that would house about 25 bank associates, and it would become the bank's primary downtown office once construction is complete. Park National would also donate $130,000 to the CIC to help pay for the development of additional parking downtown that would be lost if the new bank is built on half the lot. They would also donate their current building at 3 North Main Street, that 8-story building right on the square, appraised at a value of $1.5 million according to the Richland County Auditor's website. From the moment the proposal was made public, opposition began. Social media was filled up with it. City Council, which Hayden covered for me on Tuesday night. Thank you very much for that, Hayden. Filled the room on Tuesday with a lot of people who are opposed to it. Only a few of them chose to speak. I think once they announced early in the meeting that they weren't going to be voting on it, kind of took some of the heat out of the room.
Can I ask you a question, Carl?
Yes, certainly.
Well,
can.
actually, I don't want to interrupt.
Please, I need coffee, so ask
Okay.
away.
Well, because when you brought up City Council, that made me think of something. Now, when people are listening to this, we're going to be referring back to last week. Last Wednesday, there would have been or was scheduled to be one of the meetings of the Mansfield Community Improvement Corporation.
Yes.
That, had a vote that is in relation to this deal. Can you explain what their part of that vote was? That meeting didn't have a quorum, so they rescheduled it, but they have a portion to this too, correct?
Yeah, we're going to talk. I'm not going to get into a lot of detail about what a community improvement corporation is, but for all the folks out there who are wondering if it's some sort of communist organization, Shelby's had a very successful CIC for the last several years. Other communities around the state have them. A lot of the development that's taken place in Shelby, like the Black Fork Commons and things like that, that doesn't happen without the Shelby CIC. So what was going to happen is the city was going to convey or plan to convey half of this lot, these parcels, half of the 1.42 acre lot to the CIC, which would then sell it to Park National Bank. But you're right. They wouldn't have voted on this anyway, even if they had a quorum, because council didn't approve it. Yeah. So there would have been nothing for the CIC to do with this particular land. The mayor's got more time now to try to arrange for parking spaces. But there's another concern. Even if the parking space issue is resolved, is a bank the best possible use of this valuable real estate? As I just read to you, there was nothing in the Mansfield Rising Plan or the 2022 research project and survey that suggested a bank taking up half of that lot was a preferred development. People have talked about mixed-use development, retail, residential, parking garage, maybe even a farmer's market kind of place. A development that would attract more people downtown, as the Richland Carousel Park has done for more than 3 decades now. But as Mayor Perry said during a meeting with downtown merchants Thursday, a new building, which would be the first real construction of a building downtown since the carousel was built in 1991.
Really? We haven't had any new construction.
The only new thing is the jail, county jail, and nobody wants to really count that because it doesn't really benefit.
Right.
Not really shopping there.
Yeah. Would be, she said, a new building with 25 professional employees coming into the downtown every day is not a bad thing. And the mayor, not even the mayor, can make potential developers spend money if they don't want to invest in a potential project. I say that because I still see people on social media who say, well, we used to have a skating rink and we had a bowling alley, and why doesn't the city get those? Well, again, the city doesn't operate bowling alleys. The city doesn't build and operate skating rinks. That's private money. Right. I'm sure if somebody had that idea and the city could assist in some way, they'd be happy to do so, but that's not a municipal government's role. So she can't make somebody come in and build a multi-level parking garage with green space and a farmer's market. That's not. She simply can't do it. Nobody
what can she do? Can the city suggest what they want there, and then work with give preference to developers who fit that?
I mean, you can't give preference, but you can certainly work with and make available to. I think one of the things, if this proposal doesn't go through, and I don't know what's going to happen with it. Once the Main Street corridor improvement project is finished, that particular land between Main Street and Diamond, is it Diamond? Yeah. Between Main Street and Diamond is going to become even more valuable.
Yeah.
So I think, it's unusual because Mansfield has not been in this position very much in the past where we have something somebody might desire. So we need to be careful and maybe not jump at the first thing that comes along. But who knows? Maybe this bank project is the best thing. You also have to keep in mind these downtown business owners that are upset by this. They've been dealing with the Main Street Corridor Improvement Project that has began in March and has made travel in the downtown a lot more difficult. And that project's not going to be done for another year, October of next year. But there's also the question about Park National's current building, which is an 8-story structure downtown. Park National, I'm sure, would like to get out of that building. It's nearly a century old. It doesn't need all that space, and it currently rents space inside businesses and other entities. I'm sure it wants to be out of the landlord business. So what happens if this project doesn't go forward and Park National decides to go ahead and sell that building regardless? Again, which they certainly have a right to do. Perhaps they sell it to an out-of-town or even out-of-state developer. Again, it's their building. They can sell it outright to whoever it chooses. You ever heard of Namdar Realty from New Jersey? They love buying buildings like this. The folks who own the West Park Shopping Center on Park Avenue West, Namdar, have done nothing except watch that building fall apart, just as it's done with properties all over the country. All you got to do is Google Namdar Realty and watch the horror stories that pop up. I'm not saying Park National would sell this building to Namdar. I'm saying it is the kind of building that Namdar and others like to swoop in on, buy,
and you're simply saying
and let
they
it
could.
fall apart.
And they could. And remember, the ownership at Park National is not local necessarily. Right. I mean, they have local advocates. Right. They obviously care about Mansfield, but they've got
they're headquartered in Newark.
Yeah, they're looking at
so
just their books, and they're making a decision. And if it comes down to it, they absolutely could sell to an entity like Namdar.
Yep. So there are a lot of parts involved in this discussion, pros and cons, but I want to also, while we're talking today, dispel some information I heard since this issue came up. Emergency legislation is misunderstood. I first covered Mansfield City Council in 1990. Like every other city council or village council I've covered, it passes the vast majority of its legislation as an emergency. All that means is it takes effect immediately when approved by lawmakers and signed by the mayor. Some legislation, such as the city budget, is often set for multiple readings over 2 or 3 council meetings, allows time for public feedback, and also gives council members time to consider a more difficult issue. I'm fairly certain that if Mayor Perry had it to do over again, she would not have set this as an emergency. But the vast majority of legislation, including things like the acceptance of a grant or purchase of a snowplow, doesn't require that kind of scrutiny. So it's passed during one meeting as an emergency in just that first read. In hindsight, should the mayor have set this particular legislation for more than one? Yes, she would have, or she should have. And I think she'd be the first person to tell you that. But it doesn't mean it's improper or unusual or evil. Folks out there who don't understand emergency legislation, it's spelled out in the Ohio Revised Code. It's spelled out in the Mansfield City Charter. Come to a meeting. Emergency legislation is passed all the time.
Go ahead, Hayden.
Sorry,
no, you go.
Well, I was just going to say, could I, and please correct me if I am wrong on this, but also too, kind of a purpose with that too is something that people want all the time is if something needs done or they want something to be done and it's going to benefit them, they want it done now. Well, right. That emergency clause also allows said ordinance or whatever legislation to take effect at the earliest time allowed by law. If you're not doing it that way, I believe it's 30 days.
Yep, it's 30 days after the mayor signs it. And it's also important to know, in order for it to successfully pass as an emergency, it needs 75% of voting members. So it's going to require at least 6 of the 8 council members voting in favor.
And if it's non-emergency, does it just need, like, a majority?
No, yeah, exactly, when it's non-emergency. But, I mean, this is the way cities have always done business, especially in Mansfield with a council that meets just twice a month. It's the only time. So you got to get stuff done while they're there. All right, that's enough on that. My apologies for the long-winded discussion. As I said, this is a proposal with a lot of pros and cons and nuances that need to be considered. The good news is, to me, is we have people talking and participating in a important public discussion, and that can never be a bad thing. So that's enough for now. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by Richland Source Audience Engagement Editor Brittany Schock. Stay with us. Well, welcome back to the Newsman Weekly. With us now is Source Media Audience Engagement Editor Brittany Schock. Good morning, Brittany.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Now, many of you listening and watching this podcast may have no idea, but Brittany is one of the old guard among
true.
Source journalists. Now, you came aboard way before the rest of us, so tell us, what have been the biggest changes you've seen in the Source since your start, other than the ill-timed decision to hire Hayden Gray a couple of years ago? And I say that because he said he wasn't going to talk much in this segment.
Yeah, so now you're just going to goad him.
Exactly, that's what I do.
Got it. Yes, I am very aware that that's the thing. I'm a regular listener of Newsman Weekly. So, yeah, so I came on to Richland Source way back in January of 2014. And at the time, I mean, gosh, were only like 6 months old.
Mm-hmm.
We were still trying to figure out, like, what is it we do? Like, how do we talk about ourselves to people? And everyone was like, aren't you just the puppies and rainbows people? Like, why are you covering this court case?
And you were in a basement.
Yeah, we're in a basement.
Newsroom in a basement.
With teeny tiny windows. I remember in my interview I told Jay, like, listen, I want to do real journalism. I don't want to do like fluffy press release stuff. And he's like, okay, that's not what we're gonna do. So biggest thing I would say is we've really leaned into solutions journalism. That's huge. That really helped us kind of define what our mission was, because, you know, we knew we wanted to do journalism differently, but we didn't really have the language to talk about it. And then when the Solutions Journalism Network found us in the basement, thanks to Dylan Carr, then we were like, oh, yeah, this is what we've been trying to tell people. We want to do solutions journalism. So that was a huge thing. And also just like the way that we've always wanted to do journalism differently. And so I would say our community engagement stuff, like doing events, being out there, like having people in our newsroom, that's been hugely different. And that's really kind of helped us find our niche in the media ecosystem here, because nobody else is doing this stuff.
And the thing, I think you're absolutely right. And I think what we're doing right now with this podcast, I mean, Heiser kind of said, hey, we should do a podcast, Carl. And I said, what are we going to talk about? And he said, maybe news. And I said, okay, what
maybe
news? And, 69 episodes later, here we are.
Every week.
Yep. Now, before we start talking about all the Source Media events that are coming up the next few weeks, speaking of podcasts, give us an update on your own Better Together podcast. How's that going?
Yes. Well, we're not quite at 69 episodes yet, but Better Together is fun because you don't have to, like you guys your episodes are so much more timely. Like people, I think, listen every week because they're like, we got to get up on the news of the week. Mm-hmm. For Better Together, you can listen whenever you want. This is not... Our conversations are much more evergreen. I'm super excited. This week, our guest is Colleen Cook. She's going to... I don't know. I actually don't know what we're going to talk about because we just really like Colleen. So we were like, do you want to just come on? So far, it's been a smorgasbord of people who like I just think are really cool and I want to have a yap with. So...
What kind of conversations do you have? Like, what do you guys talk about? I assume you don't talk about sports.
No, I have to say we don't talk about sports. Although I am dying to have like a sports themed episode because I grew up playing sports and stuff. It's kind of helped shape me to become the person I am. So I have no opinion on the jersey you're wearing. I will say.
It is funny.
I don't either.
It is funny. He's wearing a Steelers, for those who are wondering, he's wearing a Steelers jersey because the Browns lost to the Steelers and he lost a bet to Hayden. So he gets to wear the Steelers jersey for the entirety of this episode this week.
That's correct.
I was going to say.
Here we are.
Yes. So to answer your question, though, what do we talk about? We try to pick a theme. So some of the themes we've talked about are like the mental load, grief. That was a really interesting one. Arts, like the power of dance or painting. We had our theme song composer, Sarah Goff on. We talked about that. We've talked about perimenopause and menopause. We've talked about what it means to be a good father. So really it's just kind of broader themes and stuff. So pretty much anything that you might be interested in, we've got an episode on. And if you want to know more and like suggest episodes, bettertogether@richlandsource.com.
Hey, they have an email address. Heiser, we don't have an email address.
You have an email address?
We have an email address. That's because I am much more organized than you guys.
There's a shot. I actually thought we should have like a Twitter account for this show so we could like do polls and stuff.
Yeah.
And invite
yeah.
I've
people
thought
to-
about it.
You
No,
can
put
do
it
a
out about
poll
it.
and say like who's going to be next on the newsman shit list.
Oh,
We do need-
exactly
we
'cause
do
it
need
is
feedback.
it is a growing shit list. It's growing by leaps and bounds. Heiser's trying to add people, but Hayden didn't bring the legal pad, so we can't officially add them yet. And it's difficult to do a show with these guys trying to get all this stuff together. But all right, let's talk about events. What is happening in and around Source Media in the next few weeks? Give us the rundown on things people need to know about.
Well, I have a whole list because it's a lot. And this is part of my job as audience engagement editor is to like engage with our audience. And how do we do that? Well, we like to have events because we like to have people in our newsroom. We like to engage with people. We like people to know that like, hey, we're here. We're part of the community. We're not just news people talking at you. Although a podcast is literally exactly that. But it's we want to like be part of the community, and that's a value that we've had from the very beginning at Richland Source. Then we kind of realized like, wait a minute, we can have events, like, which is a whole other thing. There's a reason why event planning is its own job, because it's a lot of work, but we do think it's worth it. And some of the work that we've been doing is coming up. So this week alone, we have two events. Wednesday, October 15th is Candidate Conversations at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock, 7 to 9.
7 to 9 right here in our newsroom, 40 West 4th Street in downtown Mansfield. That will be hosted by the newsman himself, as well as Katie Ellington Sorrell, and they're going to be talking to Mansfield Council and School Board candidates because it's important to cast an informed vote. We don't necessarily care who you vote for. We just want you to cast an informed vote, and we want you to vote. So,
Especially in an off year.
Exactly.
Stop it. There's no such thing. Don't even get me wound up. But if you can't make it down to join us, thanks to our friends at DRM, it will be live streamed. Oh, no, I don't mean to jump your page here, but it will be live streamed on the Richland Source Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Yes.
So
And
do
how
that.
many candidates are coming in?
Well, all of them have been invited. 8 city council candidates have been invited, and 5 school board candidates have been invited.
It's 13 people.
13, lucky 13 on the
Yeah,
15th.
thanks.
It's a lot of people. So that's number one. Number two is this Friday, October 17th, is the one and only Newsroom After Hours
That's right.
concert.
That's right.
For this year. Nightmare at the Source.
Correct. That's the theme.
Yes. Held again here at our headquarters, 40 West 4th Street, downtown Mansfield. But it'll be in our basement garage.
Correct.
So come around back.
Come around back. It's the West Temple Court Alley between Mulberry and Walnut. And if you see like orange barricades and cones, you found us.
Yep.
And you'll probably also hear
Yes.
the music coming. It's going to be hip hop and metal. Costumes are encouraged.
Hardcore hip hop.
Free beer, free Phoenix beer. You can also bring your own beer.
Yes.
And we want you to show up. We want everybody to come.
Yep.
Again, it's a fun Halloween party.
That has nothing that's not a newsy event. That's
No,
just
not at all.
come hang out with us.
We won't
event.
even ask you to become a member.
Yeah.
And to
Although richlandsource.com/members.
right, of course, do that. But just come and hang out. This is a truly a party. That's all it is.
I mean, that's part of our value. I mean, part of our values as a company is to have fun.
It's a party. Yeah.
And yeah. And so we want to have fun with people. We want people to come get to know us. So come do that. Then 3 days later, on October 20th, which is Monday, we are hosting Build a Better Village, which is going to be from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can come whenever you want, and that will be at Buckeye Imagination Museum, also in downtown Mansfield. It is a completely free event. And the goal, well, really this connects back to our childcare series that we've been running for the past couple months. It's called It Takes a Village. And so we thought, listen, if we're going to say it takes a village, then we should probably work on building that village. And so this event is like we have over 20 vendors who are going to be there. any childcare providers, people who are just working with families and children. We'll also have a couple food trucks. We'll also have like the Mansfield Fire Department's going to come, and you can do touch a truck. So it's very family friendly. We want you to bring the kids. It would be a little hypocritical if we held a childcare event and we were like, you can't bring the kids. You got to find childcare for the kids. Yeah. So we wanted it to be child friendly. Huge shout out to Buckeye Imagination Museum. Ellen and April have been awesome to work with. And yeah, completely free because, and this is really all about connections, because something that we've learned, our power as a newsroom is as conveners, to bring people together, to put people in the same room. And that's been a huge part of this, because in childcare, in a lot of things, people often are in their own silos. Like everyone's kind of doing their own thing, but they're not really doing it collectively together. So that's one goal of this event, is like, let's put everybody in the same room who's working on this problem. Also, let's build your village. So like come and be like one of the projects we're going to have is like a community wall, where it's like, what's something that you need? Oh, you need a play date at Marvin Memorial Library in Shelby on Wednesdays? Great. I live in Shelby. I have kids. I want to come do that. So like the goal is to just like make connections with like these providers and these services, but also with each other.
Well, and bring the kids too, because they're also going to connect.
Exactly.
And that's sometimes it's easier for kids to connect than their parents
Yes.
a lot of the time. And so it's like, oh, cool, we've been playing with so-and-so and let's, we're friends now. And
Yep. So if you want some new mom and dad friends, like please come. So
I could go and post, I'm looking for some dad friends to hook up and join me at the Red Fox Tavern on Thursday nights for darts.
You know what? Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Men, as we learned in the man episode of the Better Together podcast, guys need more friends and fellowship like that.
Well,
so
I don't
actually,
know. I don't think I need any more friends. But
no,
Well,
no new friends.
You were in a Steelers jersey. You definitely need some friends.
You also weren't invited to that episode, Zach. So.
I know.
Neither was I, if it makes you feel.
No, it's okay.
So then we're keeping rolling on the events. 2 days later, on October 22nd, also a Wednesday, is Candidate Conversations in the Valley. So these are the Belleville and Butler Council candidates. That'll be at 6:30, doors at 6:30 at St. Paul Lutheran Church, moderated by Katie Ellington Sorrell. So another Candidate Conversations. And then the next day after that, on Thursday, I believe, is Candidate Conversations in Mount Vernon. And that doors at 6:30. That's at the Woodward. And that will be Mount Vernon City Council candidates.
Jeez, I didn't even know we were doing
Anybody
that
want
one.
me to make my own for Plymouth or anything?
Probably. We can
Yes.
probably fit another one in.
Well, and then, mere days after that will be Hayden's birthday. So,
that's also on there.
It's also on the calendar of events.
Yes,
Hayden,
yes.
Hayden does have his gift list on Amazon if you'd like to go. And I've made my selection already. And it's,
well, I'm assuming he needs another Steelers jersey because Zach's just going to
you
keep
gotta keep
this,
that
right?
one.
yeah, Zach will be wearing that one in perpetuity.
he needs sleep and time off.
Yeah.
That's what he needs. He needs a vacation.
That is,
People
yes.
quit creating news.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, literally, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 events that we have going on just in October alone. I'm overwhelmed, but here's the good thing. The candidate conversations, not everybody has to go to every single one of those. Go to the ones that are relevant to you. Come to the ones in Mansfield if you're a Mansfield voter. Come to the one in the Valley if you're a Belleville and Butler voter. Come to the one in Mount Vernon if you're a Mount Vernon voter. Build a Better Village, that is a Tri-County event, and we want people from Richland, Ashland, and Knox. And then Newsroom After Hours, obviously, is
Just a
come
good
one,
time.
come all.
It's just the best Halloween party in the city.
Yes,
So.
but it feels overwhelming for us because most of us are going to be at every single event. So I'm very booked. I'm booked and busy in October.
And I spent a good deal of yesterday writing a candidate conversation script / question list for the event coming up Wednesday. So it should be a good evening. Even if you can't be here, tune in on Facebook and YouTube if you would. And people can learn more about these events by visiting Richland Source, Ashland Source, and Knox pages.
Yep.
And please, while you're there, please consider supporting all of this great work and events by becoming a member.
Yes. And I would be remiss if I didn't say that you three have been on my shit list because
shit list.
listen. This is relevant because
We
we're
have
talking
rights to
about
that.
community engagement.
Yes.
Multiple times I have listened to you, Carl,
Yes.
crap on us for gallivanting in St. Louis.
No, I crapped on Hayden.
But guess what we were doing there? We were accepting an award for community engagement.
I know, but here's the thing. Hayden was gallivanting.
Listen.
You were accepting while he was. I did not crap on anybody else for gallivanting except Hayden, because all I heard about was the damn horses.
The horses
You talk
were great.
more. You talk more about the horses than I do.
I didn't go see the horse in the brickyard. You did, and then you were so taken with it, you had to go to St. Louis.
That is not
Don't
at
get me
all what
started.
happened.
Don't get me started. You're completely out of chronological order anyway.
Okay. Well, I'm 64 years old. I get out of order from time to time.
Yes.
I
So
don't
not
need
only,
reminding.
well, first of all, to be, super clear, Richland Source and Ashland Source won a community engagement award from Lion Publishers, which is
A
local
national
award
Yes.
from local independent online news publishers, which is Lion, for our Tomorrow's Talent project. Specifically, the fact that the Tomorrow's Talent team, which was all about how do we engage the next generation of our workforce and support them? And they surveyed over 1,000 high school students as part of this. And so that was part of the award-winning work. But yes, not only do we do excellent community engagement, we have award-winning community engagement stuff
That is true.
was never, ever mentioned.
All right. Well, answer our questions in Slack.
Oh,
Well,
Okay.
we also
Okay.
we also won an award for National Gallivanters, which Hayden picked up while he was gallivanting in St. Louis.
Yes.
All right. Brittany, thank you very much for joining us today. Thanks for sharing with us all the information about the news and for properly placing the Newsman Weekly cast on your shit list.
Yep.
We
It's fair.
we
We
fully
accept
accept it. We embrace it, and we just fall back in it. So there you have it. Folks, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be joined by Richland County Commissioner Tony Vero to talk about decisions pending about local property taxes and a whole bunch of other stuff he doesn't know about and doesn't want to talk about. So please, stay with us. Well, welcome back to the Newsman Weekly podcast. Joining us now, as promised, is Richland County Commissioner Tony Vero. Good morning, Tony.
Morning, guys. How we doing?
We're doing fine,
good.
I think. Heiser's resplendent in his Troy Polamalu jersey.
Yeah, I'm sitting here in a Steelers jersey. I don't like that.
Yeah,
I
well-
asked to take it off in between segments, and I wasn't allowed.
No. Matter of fact, if I could find a Steelers helmet, we'd have you put that on as well. But,
Who'd you lose the bet to?
This guy.
How are
Yeah.
you Steelers?
I don't know. It's a long story, Tony.
yeah, he's a Steelers fan in
It's a long
football,
story.
a Guardians, Cavs fan in other sports. He's geographically
He's confused. He's a
misappropriated.
confused young man.
Hey,
So is Carl.
speaking of football, it seems like Notre Dame football is back, Tony. The Irish
Yeah.
won their fourth straight Saturday after starting the season with two ridiculous losses. And will Notre Dame now run the table and get back into the college football playoff with a former Buckeye as their head coach?
Man, making a government employee and an Italian on Columbus Day answer these hard-hitting questions out of the gate.
That's how we roll here.
They should run the table. Of course, Marcus, who Notre Dame Nation loves, has also lost to some teams he shouldn't. So I think if they run the table, they're in. You also mentioned Ohio State defensive coordinator Chris Ash, who Notre Dame fans wanted to James Franklin 3 games into the season, has seemed to have righted the ship on defense. They've done a complete 180. I don't think they've given up a point in the second half the last 2 or 3 games. And I know you look at North Carolina State, but they're very good offensively. Same with Arkansas, who played Tennessee to the wire. And Notre Dame's defense has been outstanding. So they got a quarterback finally. And if they win out, I think they'll get in. They'll need
100%.
They'll need a marquee win, but USC's ranked now, so they got to, right?
It could be, I'm going to be happy to say this. Notre Dame's biggest game left on the schedule might not be USC. It could be Navy.
But no one gives them credit for beating
Undefeated
Navy. No one
Navy.
ever gives them credit for beating Navy. It's like no one wants to play them, but then when they beat Navy, people go, well, it's just Navy.
Well,
Right.
Navy on Saturday, as I watched and reveled in every moment, came from behind. They were down 17-7 against Temple at halftime. We're down 30. They were down by 7 with about 40 seconds left in the game. And their quarterback, his last name is Horvath, Blake Horvath, who's from Central Ohio, broke off a quarterback run up the middle, 51 yards to score. And then with just mere seconds left, Navy said, screw it, we're going for 2. They went for 2,
right.
and they won the game.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they're out there like 5-0, 6-0. So,
6-0, yeah.
I'm a big go for 2 guy,
Yes.
especially with
Love it.
college overtime rules. If there's not a lot of time left, you have the ball. You got about what? These coaches have 10 to 15 2-point plays.
Yeah.
I'm a big go for 2 guy.
And when you need like 2 or 3 yards, like
Yeah.
Navy
Take
can
that
do
chance.
that all day.
Yeah. And it was just, this is not the Navy team of many years ago where it was, triple option.
They throw.
They throw the ball more, and Horvath is just, for a guy that's probably 6 foot, 180 pounds, he just makes people miss. He was an all-star last year for a very good team. And if you ever watch Navy, I don't know their coach's name, but he looks like an old ship's captain.
Yeah.
He's got a white beard, kind of balding hair.
the
I'm
role.
thinking, he just looks like a ship's
And
captain.
Jack,
This guy.
too.
Yeah. Oh, he is.
He's in good shape.
Yeah, he looks badass. Now
think-
Notre Dame's definitely going to get in if because their 2 losses were currently against 2 top 5 teams. I mean,
By
there's
small amount of
by
points.
very small amount. Those games could have went either way. Notre Dame's really good.
Yeah, some
all.
power ratings. I'm going to sound like Johnny Homer over here. There are guys in Vegas who do this for a living that actually have Notre Dame the number 2 power rated team in the country right now behind Ohio State. I don't know if that's true or not. I think Miami's very, very good, and I actually think they have a defensive player that could win the Heisman in Bain. He's unbelievable. Carson Beck could too, but just went out, right? That's the beauty of the playoffs now. Remember Ohio State last year? I still believe that loss to Michigan, while it stung for them, changed their season. I'm not sure they win the title if they beat Michigan last year.
If they don't
you're wrong.
lose in one of the most horrific fashions against a 20-point underdog in Columbus, their arch rival, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, that was
there was a lot of
needed.
screaming and yelling in the locker room. It was a week's
it
worth
still
of screaming.
stings. I still don't feel right about it.
Sometimes you need yes, they're making money now, but they're 18, 19, 20-year-old. Momentum is everything, and they just needed a rallying cry, and they were really, really good in the playoffs. Oof.
And for those out there who wonder why, after all these years, Notre Dame still plays Navy. Hayden, Zach, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this. I think Tony is. Notre Dame plays Navy every year, tradition, but also because the Naval Academy basically saved Notre Dame during World War II, when most of Notre Dame's all-male students jumped into the military to go fight World War II, and the Navy used the campus as a training center,
Okay.
which kept Notre Dame up and alive during the war, and then developed this wonderful rivalry that remains today. So,
And they will never not play because of that.
Okay.
Never. They will always play.
So sometimes it's not good because Navy just gets squashed like a bug, and it might again this year. But you know what? I'm glad to see they're still playing. But believe it or not, Tony, college football is not the primary reason
I know.
we
It's so
invited
much
you
fun
here
I know,
today.
it is
isn't
fun.
It's just too
You want
fun.
to talk about James Franklin?
No. Well, we could, but he's gone now. He's as gone as I was about to make a property tax joke, but I couldn't think of a good one. But hey, thanks for coming in to talk about property taxes, hatred for which has seemingly become a uniting force across the state of Ohio. People who don't agree about anything else lovingly agree the property taxes are out of control, so let's dive into it. House Bill 96, which I'm going to get tired of typing. The 2-year state budget bill that was approved by the General Assembly, signed into law by Governor Mike DeWine, has lots of details. One of those details is a section that gives county commissioners the ability to provide property tax relief to their constituents by expanding the current state-funded homestead exemptions and 2.5% owner occupancy credits. Giving popular opinion about rising property taxes seems like a no-brainer. But the devil is in the details, as it always is with anything that comes out of Columbus or Washington, D.C. Any reductions commissioners provide will not be made up by the state, which means if they do it, if you guys do it, you're going to cut revenue for schools, townships, agencies, any entity that gets property taxes. So first, Tony, are you upset state lawmakers push this down to you guys rather than handle it themselves in Columbus?
Upset? No. A little perplexed. And, it's the Spider-Man meme where everyone points at each other. But, I mean, tax law is absolutely a function of the state, right? And I know, and I want to be careful not to speak for them, but, they'll say, well, hey, we're sending things locally. That's fine. We like that. But we are not the level of government here, county and below, that develops, nor can we, tax policy. And it's a little frustrating to say we're going to allow the locals some opportunity to make adjustments in lowering taxes, which we certainly want to do, but in just these two areas. And so I know my conversations with Marilyn, I'll speak to what I say. I told her it's like you gave us a tool, but you didn't give us a toolbox. And I'm not sure that doing something or nothing, you're not going to make everyone happy one way or the other, but that doesn't fix the system, right? I think we're all property owners here, right? Mm-hmm. And even if we're not, if you're renting, you're certainly going to pay the property tax by way of your rent. So everyone feels property taxes.
Is that just higher rents?
Yeah,
like,
so
because the landlords have to pay
correct.
Higher property
That's
taxes.
exactly right. So I'm just a little confused as to how this came about. I'm not at the state level, similar to what we discussed, you and I and Hayden, with solar, right? Here's this finite area of the law, and we're going to tell counties that they can take action. And Hyman Ross said, this is the business we've chosen. So these young guys, you probably don't know what that means, but Godfather too.
They have no idea.
Yeah, but you and I get it. So.
Exactly. Especially on Columbus Day.
I know, on Columbus Day.
Indigenous Peoples Day.
Yes,
it's also called.
Okay.
Hey, I'm Italian here. Christopher Columbus was
Congrats.
Italian.
Congrats.
So.
But, this is one of those things that was done as part of the omnibus budget bill, which, I would never claim to follow the state General Assembly all that closely anymore. But I had no idea that this was included in there. It seemed like it was a part that nobody really talked about until here recently, because you've got to do something by the end of October if you're going to do it. I
don't mean to cut you off, but that's if it's effective by the 1st of next year. We have to do it within October. We can do it after that, but if we want to provide immediate relief, it needs to be done in the October window.
So if you did it sometime next year, it would take effect January of the following year.
Correct.
Well, why? Was there discussion in the Commissioners Association, County Commissioners Association of Ohio before this? When did you become aware of it? Talking to folks who cover Ashland County Commissioners and Knox County Commissioners, it doesn't seem like they're racing to take any action on this. In fact, they'd probably rather not talk about it. So when did you hear about it, and how did you decide how to proceed?
So I've received a couple calls from school representatives outside of Richland County, and they're like, what is this? We're not aware of this. We're not sure what's going on. And I just say, hey, talk to your county commissioners, or don't, depending upon what side of the fence you are. But yeah, we've known about it a while. We, communications with our County Commissioners Association, CCAO, they send out bulletins, they keep us apprised, and then, our county administrator, Andrew, and I talk a lot. And so it's been bubbling up, and some other counties, Butler counties, made the news, and some of the other counties have started to take action. So we at least felt we needed to at least discuss it, right? Because it certainly impacts local governments, school districts the most, but also residents are clamoring for property tax relief. So I don't think we would be doing our job if we didn't at least discuss it in an open forum. So that's how it came about.
Well, how would you answer those who say that this effort, as well as DeWine's Joint Committee on Property Tax Review and his Property Tax Working Group, are basically just responses to the fact it seems like Ohioans have had enough? There's a statewide citizens push to put an initiative on the ballot next year, 2026, to eliminate property taxes altogether. Is this just the state and other officials realizing folks are fed up and worried about what's going to happen if property taxes are taken off the books entirely?
Yes.
Good answer. Would you care to elaborate on that?
I mean, yes. Certainly this is a response, and I think the public would say, well, why weren't you more proactive in your approaches to alleviate the stress of property taxes? And I'm sure there's many answers for that. Won't speak for legislature. Yeah, there's a statewide initiative to get the abolishment of property taxes on the ballot. I don't think it's just Ohio. You're starting to see it bubble up elsewhere. Ohio has a system set up where, property taxes are the primary funders of schools and levies. So where other states you don't have as high property taxes, though you might see higher sales tax, and we can get into that. But yeah, there is absolutely an initiative to completely abolish property taxes in the state of Ohio.
Yeah, they were circulating, I believe, in Richland County. They had a couple of places over the weekend where people could show up and sign to get this on the ballot. It's interesting when you talk about taxes in Ohio. For those who don't follow along, schools and agencies primarily are the beneficiaries of property tax. Municipalities primarily function on income tax, and county government general fund primarily through sales tax. Those are kind of the big three when it comes to taxes. Unfortunately for schools, the state of Ohio, despite the fact the Ohio Supreme Court back in the 90s, in a decision that will forever be known as DeRolf, and the DeRolf decision said the way Ohio you are funding public education is constitutionally not right. Over-reliance on local property taxes, so a kid going to school in Jackson County, Ohio, does not have the same quality of education as somebody who goes to Shaker Heights. And over the years, they've thrown some more money at it, but that basic core ruling has never been, I don't think it's ever been revisited by the Ohio Supreme Court, maybe some lower courts, but it seems like we set ourselves up for failure when property taxes continue to skyrocket because land values are going up and people are paying too much. When they go to buy a house, they're paying, as Pat Dropsy told me last week, 200 to 300% more over appraised value, which helps drive and that's how land evaluations go up. When all of your neighbors sell their house for 5 times what it's worth, guess what? The value of your house, when the next cycle comes up, just went up a whole bunch. So your property taxes are going to help rise, even though you've not done anything, but now all of a sudden your house is worth more, so you're being taxed more. When are we going to fix, and this is, I guess, a question for the state legislature, but since Tony's here, I'll ask him, when are we going to fix this whole property tax burden with schools?
Well, I would hope soon. I mean, if there's an initiative to completely abolish them, they better fix them quickly, and I'm still not sure that will stem the tide, but... Or go ahead.
I was going to say, it seems like that fix should be in place before they make a...
Yeah.
So I had someone tell me this once, and I don't disagree, okay? And this is one of those times when you're an elected official where you're in a unique place. My wife and I pay property taxes, too, so I want to pay less property taxes. But we're also responsible for running local government, and with these decisions regarding property taxes, we can impact revenue streams for our local government. So it's a tricky place. And someone said to me once, if I pay off my house, if I'm fortunate enough to pay my house off, and then I keep paying property taxes, I'm paying rent to the government, what say you, Commissioner? And I said, I'm not sure I disagree.
No. Yeah, because I did pay my house off last year, and I'm still paying property taxes. So, am I renting my house from the government, Mr. Commissioner?
I think you could certainly make that statement and argument. Yeah. I've also, it's so funny about this. You have, and you've been able to hear this. So you have people whose children have graduated, gone on. So people who are potentially retired, Social Security. They've said, hey, I don't have kids, why am I paying footing the bill for taxes? And then I've heard people say back to them, but did you have kids? Well, yeah. And then they say, well, then you had retired people when you were younger. paying for your children. I mean, that's the system we set up.
Yeah.
So it is a very complex answer. It is a system we set up in Ohio, and I would agree that I think that's why you're seeing the initiative that you're seeing is, it's hard to put. The best I could find is property taxes have gone up about 23% in the past 3 years. Right? It depends on where you're located. Have there been any additional levies passed? Any increases in levies? So it's hard to really do apples to apples. But the best information I've seen is that property taxes have gone up 23% the past 3 years, which is pretty substantial.
Well, I mean, one of the things that you run, it's almost like, what is that, unrealized capital gains tax. I've now got to pay more, even though I'm not making any more money off my house, but now I've got to pay more for it.
That's right. I mean, now you're seeing why I think we're all talking about it as to why residents are rightfully upset with the increase in property taxes. And that's on top of, also there's a distinction between inside millage and outside millage, and we don't want to bore the listeners too much, but it's important. Outside millage are those levies that the public has approved. And we in Richland County are very generous. We've approved several levies. Recently, in the past 8 or so year, we've approved an increase in a levy, and then we just approved an additional levy for the park system. So that's the outside millage piece that is voted on. The inside millage piece is the piece that's going up, that some people is unfair, that the state constitution allows governments to collect up to 10 mills, inside mills. It's capped, but it permits that, and that's the piece that's causing a lot of the issues.
Now, commissioners had a public meeting last week. It was on Thursday with school superintendents, township trustees, agency leaders, because I think people need to understand the decision that you guys make could impact not just schools and townships, but Richland Public Health, Richland County Children's Services, the Mansfield Richland County Public Library, any agency or entity that gets tax dollars. So you had a public meeting to talk about the proposal or what you guys are thinking. What did you learn from that meeting? And can you tell us about the difference between the homestead tax and the owner occupancy tax, which may play into what you guys decide to ultimately do with this?
Man, all these hard questions on Columbus Day.
It's a two questions in there.
Yeah. All right.
I'm
so,
here for backup, Tony.
Hayden, you were at the meeting, so correct me. I learned that we have schools that are. You always try not to speak for people, but then it was a public meeting and they did speak publicly, so I think I can say this a little bit. Schools are certainly upset right now at what they feel is a lack of public funding to run public schools and to make sure that they meet the mandates from the state government. Hayden, is that okay to say?
Fair assessment.
Okay. So I learned that schools do not want the commissioners to take any action on property tax relief. Conversely, we have a bunch of residents. I've received text messages saying, please provide some relief, okay? Now, the homestead tax is a tax that's available to a certain segment of the population, potentially based on disability status and income level. We can get into it. Roughly about 9,700 people or parcel owners currently get the homestead exemption, whereas the 2.5% owner occupancy credit is available to anyone or to all parcel owners, and that's roughly over 32,000. So it would be a bigger chunk of relief if the commissioners took action on the homestead to a smaller amount of people, and the 2.5% owner occupancy credit would be a little bit less relief for a significantly larger amount of people. From a school perspective, if we did both of these tax exemptions, it would roughly be about $5.8 million of less revenue for all the local governments. Nothing to laugh at. And the schools would carry about 62% of that loss.
Jeez, that's not good.
Well, that's what the schools were saying. So,
I mean,
that's about 3.58, 3.6, right? You got the spreadsheet. I'm not cheating over there, so is my math about right?
Yeah, if the entity total on are you saying both, Tony?
Both.
Yeah, approximately 3.6 million.
So like Mansfield City Schools could be out $1 million.
That's a lot of revenue.
Is there
Yeah,
any
roughly 955?
Yeah.
Have you heard of any solutions about how schools could be funded other than 60,
Well, it could be fun
70%
because
of property?
the guy that wants to be the new governor
Uh-huh.
wants to do away with the sales tax.
Okay.
So that could be fun.
Okay.
I mean,
not
geez, you're not
answering
always
the-
hard quiet. I mean, can we talk about football?
Yeah, can we go back to football, please?
We'll talk about that some other time. We're trying to fix property taxes right now. So yes, and I will say the schools were very professional. We do have a really good relationship with the schools. I know several of them personally. And, you know, it was funny. It was, hey, sorry you guys are in this position. The state legislature should not have put you in this position, but don't do this, was the message. And so we wanted to have a public meeting first before we have a second meeting to decide whether or not to take action. It's too serious for the public and our local taxing jurisdictions, particularly the schools, to not have an open meeting to discuss. We have another meeting tentatively scheduled for, I think it's Thursday the 23rd at 11. We've invited Marilyn John and Mark Romanchuk, and for anyone wondered how hard they work, Mark and I were communicating while he was out of town. So he's always working. We felt it was important for the state legislative team that represents Richland to be here to answer questions, because the schools are asking questions about state government that, quite frankly, we couldn't answer.
The one thing I like about all this is all of a sudden people are talking about government. So and hopefully that not only this, but the stuff we talked about earlier in this show about the parking lot and things like that in Mansfield.
It was standing room only last week.
It was the largest commissioners meeting at the county building that we've had since I took office, for sure. It was in the new conference room, which that's why we built it, so we were really excited. And it was standing room, 70 to 80 people, right?
I think so.
Yeah, it was a lot of people.
All right. So, again, just to reiterate, what is the next step in the process? Because you do have to make a decision. If you want it to take effect in January, you've got to make that decision by the end of October. So, again, just remind people, what are you doing next?
We'll have a meeting, like I said, on the 23rd. You can see I think it's 23rd.
What time?
And 11 a.m. I mean, we're also smack dab in the middle of budget season. So, I mean, we are very busy. And we'll make a decision there. I mean, we have to anyways, but we'll decide after hearing the conversation. We'll either not take action, do one, do both, do none, and we'll go from there.
All right. Well, while you're here, let's chat about a few other things, because we don't get you in the on the show all that often. So I got a couple of things I wanted to chew on with you. Let's talk about the new, still relatively new, Richland County Port Authority that the commissioners established a few months ago. Are you pleased with the work done thus far? And I believe you could maybe explain this to me. The state has changed some of the rules about port authorities, which puts final decision-making power back in the hands of commissioners in some areas.
Yeah, I'm still trying to sort through that. I'm not even going to pretend to know all the ins and outs of the Port Authority and the new regulations. I know there were some additional rules, particularly with local port authorities, too. You can't necessarily Port Authority shop without the local Port Authority giving approval, which I like. We're very pleased with the port. We have a really good board, and I think you'll see some more projects coming around the corner here, we hope, knock on wood. Some really significant projects. You don't ever want to, say it too soon.
Go ahead and spill the beans.
No, you would love to if I spilled a couple of them, man.
Spill all the tea.
My fingers are so crossed on a couple projects. It would be significant wins for the area that we hope if we announce by the year end. It's I understand.
Can you give us a hint?
No, because trust me.
North, south, east, west.
Hayden, who's
somewhere in Richland County?
I'm not on any side.
Look, a politician saying this. It's just all the pieces are aligned right now with Jody, who's having fun with the downtown situations. Ellen Hines, like Jay said, we were outside. You have economic development professionals. Now the mayor of Mansfield. We have one at the chamber. And you just have everyone working together to kind of put the pieces in place to really grow the county. And shame on us and shame on me, by the way, for not forming the port sooner. There were other deals in this county and projects where we utilized outside ports, and that's a shame on us We fixed that. We got it up and running. They can often benefit communities. Well, they benefit them very much. You love these, right? These offshoots of
Squishy.
government. Yeah,
It is
you
squishy.
hate them so much.
It is so squishy.
CICs. Then you have new
Squishy.
community authorities and port authorities
Whenever
and
I
land
s-
banks
when
that
I-
you don't
when-
like.
Just
when-
more for Carl to
when
cover.
I
I think
see
that's his gripe,
when I
Tony.
see the words quasi
I know.
hyphen
You love
government,
it. You love it.
I just get squishy as hell because it just
Just more meetings.
And how smart, by the way, are Greg Daniels and Andrew Keller?
They're smart guys,
I
but
mean,
I don't
jeez.
have a problem with anything locally the way they're doing it. My problem is that the state set this squishy stuff up in the first place. I mean, we have to
I
play
don't
the
agree
game
with that,
because
though.
everybody else is playing it.
So the public demands, for the most part, that government operate like a business.
Right.
But then the government has set up rules, which I understand, to say, well, you can't really operate like a business because it's the public dollars.
Right.
So
it's
to
not
me,
supposed to operate like a business.
right, but someone who comes from the private sector, you need to be able to move quick and you need to be able to have flexibility if you truly want to have growth, right? You can't
right.
say operate like a business and then not have the same tools. So these, port authorities, these are ways I view them as mechanisms, quasi-governmental bodies
Quasi-governmental.
that give governments or quasi-governmental entities the ability to move a little more flexible and to provide means to promote economic development.
I mean, as long as these quasi-governmental entities continue, and I don't see any reason why they wouldn't, to continue to operate in a public meeting format. Thus far, I haven't been chased out of the Port Authority meeting. So, one of the things I think people need to understand is, and one of the ways that the Port Authority can function, and we just saw it with a deal that they're doing in Ontario, where they basically, it's a lease back bond assurance type thing, and I don't know all the ins and outs of it,
makes
but
two of
basically
us.
it allows the developer to build something and not pay sales tax.
Well, that part I understand. It's
Yeah.
the bonding part that's a little more complex. So are you talking about the sales tax part or the bonding
I'm talking
part?
about the sales tax
Okay.
part.
I can
and-
explain that.
I thought I just did. Maybe I didn't, but go anyway. You go ahead and explain it further.
Okay, so it allows people who are developing a project to have an exemption on sales tax. And there's also some applicability with even materials purchased outside of the state, which is even more complex. Squishy, as you might call it. It's legal, so it's not squishy.
Squishy.
And in return, the developer pays the Port Authority a fee, roughly 20-25%, depending upon the port and the project, for that Port Authority exemption. And usually that fee is significantly less than what they would pay for the sales tax. Now, you are seeing some people, as these port authorities are popping up, we have roughly 63, 64 across the state of Ohio. Some people are starting to argue and want ports to give less sales tax exemptions, which is another conversation. But then the Port Authority then can take that fee and use it on another project or even that project to continue to foster economic development within the county. So it's a unique tool. I think you can argue, yes, I would agree that it isn't always 100% a benefit to communities because the developers are paying less sales tax, but it also incentivizes development. And I think right now, I still think by and large, it's a good thing. Squishy, as you might call it.
Now, let me ask you a question. If you had a company, and I don't know the answer to this, I usually like an attorney in court, I like to know the answer to a question before I ask it, but I truly don't know the answer to this one. If you had Acme Company in Richland County, and they built widgets, and a company in Claremont County wants to build a factory, and they need 5 million widgets, and they get a deal through the Claremont County Port Authority, so they don't have to pay sales tax. They buy those 5 million widgets from this company in Richland County that makes them. Do you guys lose the sales tax on that?
Yeah, there is no sales tax. That's correct, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's somebody's not getting
well,
fully
the counter
funded
could
through.
be, hold on.
Okay.
So let's say the company who's getting the sales tax exemption says, well, hey, Indiana next door or Kentucky is offering us this exemption, And yeah, we might get sales tax exemption, but we're going to bring in so many hundreds of jobs, and that's income tax, and they're going to spend money, and you're going to get sales tax. So the long-term play would be the incentives. And you don't have to give us this exemption, Ohio, but then we'll just go next door to Indiana or Kentucky or even, let's say, out west, right? So that's the counter. And I think by and large they are a good thing because if you can keep businesses in Ohio, and particularly Richland County, or grow businesses or start new businesses, that's what we want.
So this is as squishy as when Notre Dame got the Francisco brothers to come from Cincinnati, to come over play Cincinnati Moeller and move out of Indiana to come play for Cincinnati Moeller. I'm sure there was nothing untoward by getting their dad a job. So Dewan and Hiawatha would come play at Moeller. I'm sure that was nothing.
I can't speak to that. I would imagine if Notre Dame was involved, it was completely above board and done with the highest degree of ethics.
All right. Well, actually, I was talking about Moeller, but that's like as Jerry Faust found, that's like Notre Dame light when you coach from Moeller and then go to Notre Dame.
He is the rest in peace, Jerry Faust.
Yes,
although he wasn't successful at Notre Dame, he is probably the most beloved unsuccessful coach. And I mean, he was and is beloved by Notre Dame fans, and it's because he loved Notre Dame. I mean, loved Notre Dame. And so,
but it didn't stop him from printing Al's Faust bumper stickers.
During
his tenure
it
there.
did not.
No.
But
Entrepreneurial opportunity, though.
yeah, that's right. And we know the T-shirts.
Yeah, Notre Dame's always been about that. You know?
Yes. All right. Now, so switch gears for a minute. The county helped to fund the new trail connector between the Richland B&O Trail and the new Bob Bianchi Tunnel that goes beneath Trumbull Road. Now, I saw you were at the ribbon-cutting ceremony. Were you pleased with how that project turned out and the county's decision to help fund it all?
Okay, 100% yes. And I try my darndest to never read comments on social media,
hard,
right? You guys, your page, it is hard. And then look, everyone knows Bob, Jody, we're all friends, and you feel for your friends. I was surprised at some of the negative pushback. Such a wonderful project, but that's how it's always going to be.
I wasn't surprised.
No.
People in this town always find a way to find the negative.
I mean, I've said this in this room. If you look at communities that are new and developing, and even now neighborhoods, almost every one of these projects are built with walking trails and active transportation, and these are in older segments of the community where the neighborhoods are already built. And to connect the Trimble walking trail to the B&O bike trail, which is freaking awesome, by the way. That's a great bike trail that we are fortunate to have. And to truly try to connect this community to provide exercise and healthy living with such a cool, unique way of creating a tunnel to do it. So there's safety is paramount. I mean, I just think it's awesome. And if you would have been at the ribbon cutting, those people who bike and walk were so happy. And my mom happened to be in town the next day for our daughter's soccer game. I said, hey, let me go show you the Connect. And we went there Saturday morning, and it was packed. There were people walking in the tunnel. People were happy.
How did they step over all the homeless people that were living there by now?
Those are the comments, right?
Yeah, homeless people, drug addicts.
There's not a single. We didn't see any. The camera. There's plenty of cameras in the tunnel. It's not that long to begin with, so safety again remains of an utmost priority. And just what a great thing to do, and I think it's fantastic. So for those of you who disagree with me, I'm sorry. I just think it's amazing, and we're going to continue to try to do more.
All right. Now, this is outside of your purview as a county commissioner, but I know as a barrister, you will have some sort of an opinion about this. It was in the news over the weekend, not even in your county, happened in Knox County. Federal authorities, we're not exactly sure who, turns out it might be something called HSI instead of ICE.
That's Homeland Security.
Yeah, thank you. They raided a Mexican restaurant in Knox County, Pancho's Tacos, right before they opened, it looks like. Officers apparently detained and took away several employees, or so we've been told. Nobody in the federal government has been willing to speak about this. Now, when President Trump took office, I thought the idea was to go after, arrest, and deport violent and dangerous criminals. What are your thoughts now? It looks like we're simply going after and arresting illegal immigrants who are working and paying taxes in the communities. Might be kind of a loaded question, but
not at all.
Hey, Commissioner, let's talk about property taxes and illegal immigration and see how fast you can not get elected.
Well, you're not up for election right now.
You got a few more. You got a few more years.
So-
interference.
First off, a smart politician, which clearly I am not, would say, look, that's at the federal level. I don't know. I don't want to talk about it. But
But I knew you wouldn't say that because you don't have it in you.
Oh, I do, but I think one of the biggest things is I think you need to be able to answer hard questions when you're an elected official. So for me to come on and say I don't want to talk about that, that's at the federal level. I will do my best to answer the question with the limited amount of knowledge I have. I don't know the circumstances. I don't know who has been arrested. I don't know if anyone has been arrested. I don't know a lot.
Yeah, we don't either.
Okay, right. So I know this. Joe or Jane employer, I worked in there are guidelines and laws you need to file. You have to check documents to make sure people are legally, or you can employ them legally in the United States of America. I have no idea if that was done, not done at all. Okay? I don't know if the people detained have a background that might be questionable. I don't know. There's definitely a fine line between arresting people who are here illegally and their purposes, or maybe those who are here illegally but want to work. Now, there may be some that'll say it doesn't matter if they're working or not. If they are here illegally, they broke the law, and we have laws in this country. I don't think that's an unfair position. I also think there's some, like you could say, is, hey, should we really be going after people who want to work and who may not be here legally? I don't think that's unfair, and that is a long way to not answer the question, but I don't think there's an easy answer. But if you ask me, as an elected official, I'm a very big law and order guy, and this is a great country, and I understand people want to come here, but at the same time, we do need to have laws in place, and I know I can't just walk into another country. Now, granted, I'm coming from the United States, so it is threading the needle. But some people say, hey, law and order, you can't be here. I don't think that's unfair. But I also don't think it's unfair to say, hey, we are the United States of America. We are the great melting pot. And if people want to come here, then they should be afforded the opportunity to work. And we as a country, similar to property taxes, I do think we need to find a way. And you can find ways. It's never going to be perfect to distinguish between those here who want to work and maybe those here who don't, and to find ways to help them achieve citizenship in an easier manner. And I guess I don't know what the fix is. It's a very polarizing topic.
There's got to be a better way to do it than what they're doing now, in my opinion. I mean, especially, and you think about people that want to work, and you think about people that were brought over here when they were kids. And they didn't have a choice in the matter. And a lot of them don't even speak Spanish. They've been in this country this whole time. And, but you're illegal. Sorry, let's,
But the part of it that I don't understand, and this is coming from someone who was in newspaper management for various corporations like Gannett, like Thompson, like Cox Newspapers. When you hired someone, before you hired them, they had to fill out and something called an I-9 form. And they had to show you.
Yes.
A driver's license, you had to make a copy of it. They showed you a birth certificate. You made a copy of it, whatever it was, and you attached it to their I-9 form.
Which you technically don't have to do for my years in HR. You have to view it and mark down, but you really shouldn't. Well, anyways, we'll get in. But yes, it's an I-9. That's what I said.
Yeah, they required that, and they had to sign it in your presence. You had to sign it, and then it went into their file.
Yep.
And Lord help you if there was some sort of a corporate file check, and you did not have paperwork for everybody that works for you. And this was 20 years ago. And I don't think it's probably, now I see electronic I-9s and things like that, so I don't know how it all works. But it used to be really hard if you were going to hire somebody, and you had to do this before you could actually start them on the payroll.
Well, and you're seeing now you're seeing the two political sides in a weird way also cross, because now you have some organizations who are maybe historically leaning left that were very pro-labor kind of crossing the fence and saying, hey, these people who are here illegally are taking the jobs of people in the United States. So now you're seeing it's like sides are interchanging, and it is so polarizing. And I am not at the federal level. You're right. If it's very heartbreaking if you have kids who've been here through no choice of their own and have been here forever. But I don't know if that's the overwhelming majority of what's happening. So it's just a polarizing topic. But if we have laws, but we need to do a better job as a country to figure out a way to make it more amenable to the people you're in the situation you are describing. And I don't know if there's an easy fix similar to property tax.
Property taxes. All right.
Way to bring it full circle.
Yeah.
Hopefully we don't have to deal with this situation anytime soon in Richland County. But I certainly, when I heard about it last week, I did check with the Richland County Sheriff and Mansfield Police Chief. And to their knowledge, there had been no such activity in Richland County, at least to that point.
ICE is on my shit list, as well as Jimmy Haslam.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Hayden didn't bring the legal pad, so we can't add them
I can't
officially.
add anyone to the list today.
But we can't add them to the list because we don't have the legal pad.
Where does Haslam rank in the pantheon of NFL owners, if you had to rank it?
Well, I don't know all of them, but he's last for sure.
Yeah. He's just last.
He probably is.
The Browns as a franchise are last in all of pro sports at being a functional organization. Just look at their cap hits at quarterback right now.
But yet you're a Guardians fan, and the Browns have won an NFL title more recently than the Guardians have won a World Series title.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, the Indians have had so much. I mean, if your standard is world title or nothing, yes.
As a Packers owner, that is the standard.
But if your standard is just the Guardians, Indians are Guardians. Now they're the Guardians. Okay. They've had so much more success in terms of playoffs than the Browns. It's not even funny with less resources at their disposal.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but I was alive the last time the Browns won an NFL title.
Okay, well then let's call it Super Bowls and then make that same argument.
I hate that.
Well,
there was NFL titles long before there was a Super Bowl.
I understand that.
Okay, 1964.
Yeah, I was 3.
The Indians in 1948.
Yes.
I mean, it's
there are people who have been born, raised, and died as Cleveland baseball fans who never saw a World Series title.
I'll take getting close in 97, getting close in 2007, getting close in 2016 versus a team that you don't even care about, and here I am wearing a Steelers jersey because they're so bad.
If there's no rain delay, the Indians win the World Series in 2016.
Might be right.
Baseball and sports are such a creature of momentum, and it's only the most Cleveland thing to have happen where they hit one of the most historic home runs, and then there's a rain delay. And I'm convinced that they would have won the World Series had that.
And now I feel sick.
So you think even God didn't want Cleveland to win a World Series?
It is the most. It's just really hard to be a Cleveland fan. I mean, it's just. But the Browns are not good.
Yeah.
And they have a good defense too. That's what's troubling is you're ruining a very, very good defense. If you were just average on an offensive side of the ball, you're probably a playoff team.
And no plan. They signed Myles Garrett to some crazy, ludicrous amount of money just to bring on Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders as their quarterbacks. What's the plan there? There isn't one. They'd
have been better off signing Peter Gabriel. All right, folks, we are going to wrap up today's show on that note because ending the show with Browns discussion is always a popular way to end. Many thanks to Richland County Commissioner Tony Vero for coming in to join us today and talking property taxes and bike trail connectors and federal law enforcement. So thank you for being here, Tony.
Yes, Carl, thanks for asking all the questions to get someone unelected. I really appreciate that.
I'm sure you're worried about it. Hey, also many thanks to Source Media Engagement Editor Brittany Schock. For now, thanks again to all of you for listening to the Newsman Weekly. I'll be back in a second to put a bow on this week's episode, but until then, remember what author Mark Twain once said, if you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything.